Inside Story Uganda. Real source
Even quite a number of other disenchanted members of the party who lost out. We ask, could this tribunal have been a facade of sorts or an avenue to correct what went wrong? But besides, how come what was initially a democratic process called party primaries in the selection of the party flag bearers turned into a nightmare of sorts? Welcome aboard. My guest tonight, Honorable Tinka Simire Barnabas, Member of Parliament, Buyaga West, lost to Namara in the party primaries. Well, we'll get into that. I'm also joined by Honorable Sarah Opendi, woman Member of Parliament, Tororo. This time she's been on the independent, but she won in the primaries. Frontliner Ofwono Opondo, who is bidding to represent elder people, the older persons in Parliament from Eastern Region. Good to have you. Plus, the Secretary General of the People's Front for Freedom and Member of Parliament, Kira Municipality, our frontliner, Honorable Semuju Ibrahim Nganda. Good to have you all. I'll begin with you, Honorable Tinka. Having lost the party primaries and made no show in the tribunal, has your political curtain closed?
I have to just laugh at you. I left Makerere University in 95 and worked for 10 years in public service and chose to join politics. The largest part of my life I have been in politics, and I find myself a politician at 53, leave the political stage when somebody at 86 is still weighing in for bigger positions. I find that not tenable for me.
So what is next for you?
Of course, there are many options that are available for me. Not to say that I disregarded what I saw in the party primaries, and I did not see any need. Although there are events that played that could not allow me to even think about what was going on. Immediately after the party primaries, I lost my mother.
Oh, sorry.
And I had to concentrate on the burial of my mother. And of course, time for petitions was running up. So I did not see any need of putting in any form of petition, even when I had serious grounds.
Why did you find it tenable?
I don't think that I would be crying for the death of my mother and find time to go and be cancelled in the tribunal, because I have been there 4 times. They have taken me there 4 times from the time I started participating in the party primaries. Largely is about talking to you, you steaming off, and those who are like petitioning, steaming off, and being asked, can't you think about supporting the person who won you, even when he won you unfairly? When you see what happened in my constituency, the election was a fraud. I would not call it an election. Before I joined politics, I was a returning officer. I know what it means to organize a free and fair election. Yes, I'm a politician who in Africa knows that fairness is of elections comes to around 50%. Ours was not even 20%, was not 20%. It was skewed. It was a planned system, not to allow person called Tinka Simire Barnabas to win.
Who hatched the plan?
Of course, the one who won, the one who claims to have won, and he planned it with the district returning officer who had set up a system already, because I got that information and reported to Tango Doi, and it was dismissed almost 1 week to the election time. When it was dismissed, he had already set up a system, because I got wind that he already had even a result declaration form before we held elections. They brought a copy for me where they had given me 30% of the elections, of the result declaration form. They brought that immediately. I had been, you remember, towards the election time, I was abducted on 28th. In my history, I had never thought of such a thing. For me, I am an outspoken politician who does not participate in underhand methods. I will come to the TV and speak what I believe in to be right. I do not go behind to organize other activities, follow-up activities. And because when I was in captivity, they told me I speak too much. I speak too much, and of course so many things played when I was there. I knew anything was going to happen even during this other election. So what happened on election day, I was not surprised, where the entire establishment.
So your loss was predetermined?
Yes. Yes. The entire establishment started beating up people online, lining up, removing them from my line.
That would be a very good ground for the tribunal to interrogate.
Of course. Even others, because you go to a polling station, somebody scores 119 and is given 519. 400 free votes. 400 free votes. Free votes. It's a polling station in Mhoro trading in Mhoro Town Council, Chisenyi village. He polled 119. He was given 519. I had all the credible evidence that would even force an overturning this election. But now, even if it would be overturned, they would be the same group of people that would organize the election. You are just there to brutalize your people. I said, there is another round where somebody walks quietly to the basin after being given a ballot. Because in that place, you are given a ballot. I have seen in some instances where they organize with returning officers, they are given more than one. But it is easier to see somebody who walks to the basin and ticks more than once. It is easier to see that one. It is not easy for you to carry 50 ballots and put them in the box.
Well,
unless you bring...
I'll hold you there. Honorable Semuju, does Tinka Simire's scenario raise a number of questions and even poke holes in the entire system, the NRM party primary system, which gives flags to candidates?
At least Tinka Simire was not brutalized. At least they just cheated.
No.
Sechikubo.
Do you know that during that time, during the election time, my whole vehicle almost somebody came with a panga and they started cutting it. They smashed every windscreen, every windscreen. After the election, I was treating 48 patients. Okay. Even others this morning, as I was leaving my place, some have not recovered. Have not recovered.
Thank you. Let's hear from.
They are still carrying wounds of the election.
Honorable Semuju.
Yeah, you see, the Sechikubo was burying people, shot dead. For you, at least you are treating. So you should thank God. I met the Honorable Yona Musingus at Parliament today. Frail.
Has he recovered?
Frail. He has a cut almost the length of his head. He told me he was operated in Mbarara because he had 3 clots. I said transferring him to Kampala would be risking his life. He's even struggling to speak. They told me he was at Parliament. They told me, he actually told us with a group of other MPs that under normal circumstances, no MP would allow his head to be open in a facility-type country. And he said, I didn't have the luxury. Because they said either they open the head, remove the clots, or you die on the way coming to Kampala. That's why I said that Tinkasimile should thank God. Him is treating other people. Yona was in hospital, in coma, I have been told, for 3 days. But also we thank God that he didn't die. I try to raise these matters in Parliament. Because it is foolish to think that this violence will stop in NRM elections and it will not be imported into the national elections. When I saw General Kayanja crying, when I saw, as I said here recently on one of the shows, Ndunguse, who was Kaihora's deputy, being roughed up, first for him I was celebrating because that's how they have been treating us when they are in police. But for the country it is sad. So really what happened in the NRM primary, because I'd wanted the Parliament at least to investigate the aspect of violence, to find out who was deploying the military, who was deploying the police. You saw Kayanja crying that they brought 50 drone. He said he was calling them drone 50. Sechikubo said in his case there were 40. We spend every year about 5 trillion shilling on strengthening and building our security as a country. So any MP who is sane should be troubled by seeing the military all over NRM primaries, seeing police. So, but one thing that I have never understood is for people like Tinkasimile and Sechikubo to continue forcing themselves onto and into the NRM. They get mistreated, but after 1 week they are NRM. They're even more NRM than those who are mistreating them. You guys, you just have to take a risk. How can you continue being part of what you are describing? That they are bringing pangas to cut your vehicle, they are kidnapping you, the whole establishment were against you, but you say, no, I am still part of them.
No, but he's putting blame on the individual, not the party.
So that individual could not have operated in Zimbabwe. I met the MP for Isinjiro. He told me in his case 2 people were killed. We are today at Parliament. It's not possible that that individual who was brutalizing people he has treated the 40 was the one operating in Zimbabwe, was the one operating in Isinjiro, was the one killing. This is a system that has disintegrated. When you hear countries speak about warlords in Somalia and in other countries, it means the center can no longer hold. So the individuals have accumulated power around themselves, so they can go and dispense it the way they like. So that's where we are now. I spoke to friends before the NRM primaries who told me in Ankole and partly in Chigezi, for you just to think of being an MP, you need to have 600 million on your account. Now you need the military, you need a unit. You need the unit. If they don't lend you the one of SFC, either ghetto. So preparations for elections in Uganda, in some areas, means that actually the money is part of the preparation, but also you need the armed people. Because in the case of Sechikubo, and I told you last time we were discussing this matter, you saw pickups on the social media, and the people were offloading sticks. They said the voting materials for Zimbabwe have arrived. And what was arriving were sticks in the pickups. Now Sechikubo told us the Nkoni scored. So these things are serious. And when these colleagues the Opondo went for the NRM meeting himself and he said, don't speak about things in parliament, we are sorting them out. They are so embarrassed that they don't want to have a public discussion about the messy NRM election. And I saw the speaker. At every attempt I was raising this matter, she was stopping me, she was quarreling with me. These are internal matters. It can't be internal matters. We are spending this financial year, we are spending 45 billion shilling on funding political parties. So there's nothing internal. These are public institutions that are supposed to make a declaration to electoral commission. But they have privatized public institutions, they have privatized the military. I asked the Minister for Defense to tell the parliament whether a UPDF chopper had become an NRM equipment, because it was operating in his area. He would go use the chopper, because in a village people will be excited to see a chopper. So it is hovering around the villages to correct for him people. Then he arrives in his convoy, the chopper leaves to go and correct. Yeah, the level of abuse, the level of impunity exhibited in a primary tells you that the state has collapsed. Now everybody is on his own.
Thank you. Honorable Sarah, of course you suffered the wrath of party primaries, much as you made it as an independent this time.
No.
Yes, she's an independent woman.
2016.
She's NRM and she has won the flag.
Yes,
But 2016 she was
2016.
Your facts.
Yes, 2016 you came as an independent. But how would you analyze the quest for a party flag?
First, I must say that it's very unfortunate that we have seen violence increasing in these processes, something that was not there before. And as we move on, I think it is time for particularly my party, which is a mass party, to get back to the drawing board, to actually find alternative means of selecting flag bearers. Allow me to take you back to where we started. Initially, in selecting flag bearers, members of the party would go and write the name of the candidate they wanted on a piece of paper. So if you don't know how to read or write, you would choose a person whom you trust to write for you. And I participated in those elections in 2010. The process was very transparent, and we did not have crooks by then. The registrars were very honest. The only challenge is that when it got to sub-county level, now like in my case, much as we had all the results declared proper and formally, the registrar at the district level was told not to declare me, and he disappeared after declaring all the constituency MPs. Now, unknown to me, in disappearing, then the manipulation came in. But fortunately, we had the original results from sub-county level. And at that time, the issue of getting the flag was not very competitive. People would come in to participate in party primaries because they wanted to go and serve the population. They wanted to represent people in parliament. Now, looking at 2016, I remember I proposed, and I am glad it was accepted, that since people cannot read and write, as you submit your nomination forms, indicate how you want your names to appear. So actually we went into alphabetical order. So the names would be in alphabetical order. And then, knowing that you are number 1 or number 2, you can tell the people, tick box 1 or box 2. I was supposed to be the first on the ballot, yes. Unknown to me, the people managing elections at the center changed my name. And
you are Sarah Acheng Opendi.
I put Acheng Sarah Opendi. Okay. So, looking at the candidates, I was supposed to be the first. So I didn't bother checking, and I told the people, tick box number 1. Now, on election date, I was relaxed, only to start getting phone calls. What have you done? You were telling people to tick number 1, even putting radio announcements, box number 1. The people at the center knew, so they got the candidate they wanted and put as number 1, changed my name to Sarah and put me number 5. So my people, I started running around. The first place I went to, I found women sitting. So they were happy to see me. I said, have you voted? That yes. What did you do? Box number 1. See how terrible it was. But remember, in talking about that, I had also proposed that let's go in for lining up. So at the NRM delegates conference, the lining up was objected to. But come 2021, it was accepted and we went into lining up. But now you are talking about the party flag. The party flag, it's very unfortunate that now we have more people wanting to join politics as opposed to engaging in any other thing. So the party flag has become so competitive.
And costly.
And in becoming competitive, it has become even costly. It is now like a do or die, which is very, very unfortunate. And that is why in the last NRM caucus meeting, some of us felt that can we discuss these matters? Not for now, but let's start the discussion now for the future.
Is it true that this discussion was thwarted?
Yeah, we were told we couldn't discuss now. We shall find another time. Because, first of all, you know, there were some people who would even raise matters, wanted to raise matters regarding the election itself. And yet the tribunal was sitting. So the president felt that let us have the tribunal conclude its business, and then we shall have another meeting where we shall sit and discuss matters of the party.
Do you believe in the tribunal? And did you ever go there when you lost the other time?
No, when I lost in 2016, we did not have a tribunal. Actually, if I may tell you my story, in 2016, we had by then 21 sub-counties. They tallied results of 19 sub-counties. 2 sub-counties were left. I was winning. And of the 2, I had won massively in 1 and received some votes. So in adding these, definitely I was going to be the winner. The registrar, on instructions of somebody, decided to abandon the tallying of results for the women, and they put my results, the women's tallying aside, started tallying for the men. So at that time, if you lose at that level, you appeal to the same person who organized the same election, who was Dr. Tango Doi, as the chairman electoral commission. So how do you appeal to the same person who removed your name from number 1, box 1, and put you as number 5? So I went to court. Unfortunately, court fixed my case for hearing in April, when the elections were taking place in February. So the only thing was to run as independent. And I ran as independent and won the election.
Yes, how do we get to the heart of the mischief, the violence, and everything that has turned this party flag into a nightmare?
Well, the spokesperson of PFF, formerly spokesperson of FDC, has sought to do politicking to scare Honorable Tinka Simire and blackmail him. I think Honorable Tinka Simire understands very well the challenges, but consciously,
to scare Tinka Simire,
yes, he has chosen to stick with the NRM, notwithstanding those mistakes and even assault on himself. And so is the Honorable. I don't think they need your advice as to which party they should join. NRM remains the most popular and credible. By policy, by leadership style. And this is reflected not just in the elections, in the everyday life of the country. So that's the reason why, in spite or despite the challenges we have, many people will still run into NRM. Yes, including the reasons Honorable Sarah has alluded to. Probably now Parliament is seen as a sweetener. That's where if you want to get good money quickly, probably you go. And so it will attract people. But mainly, NRM remains the most credible political organization in the country. You may disagree with it, but that's what the majority of Ugandans say. And so many people come to look for leadership in the party. Yesterday, I was at the Secretariat and then I crossed over to Block 13, Tango Doi's office. I found two people, one from Ntungamo, a man had run for councillor. 3. A woman had run for councillor 3, councillor for to come to the sub-county in Bujiri. And the registrars in these two different places had swapped their results. They had their declaration forms from the different polling stations, but in doing tallying, like what Honorable Sarah has just said, and I think Asimre, your opponent gets 30 votes, and you get 75. Because the register has been compromised, maybe given money or a relative or friend, the register puts 2 behind the 5. So the votes become 250. Now, if you add the 250 plus 75, they become more than the people who turned up to vote. Now,
that must have been district councillors.
District councillors.
Because LC3
yeah, it's just coming.
The election
so,
is just coming.
You can imagine, this was a mature lady. Councillors don't have salaries, but you can see by the time somebody puts transport to come to Kampala, to complain, to look for Tango Doi, look for the tribunal, looking for justice, clearly that person loves the party because they are not, she's not doing it for money in the council, because in the council there is no money.
Or they are simply desperate.
No. They're not desperate. They love their party. She loves her participation. And she feels cheated and she's looking for justice. I think that's what motivated that lady. She's another lady, I think she's past 60. This other man is in mid-50s. From Tungam, from different places. They were seeking justice. Unfortunately for them, they were coming to petition. The registrars took them in circles. And the time for petitioning ran out. Tango Doi cannot handle their matter because the result has been declared, because that's our rule. Once results have been declared, even if by swapping, Tango Doi cannot do much.
So registrars are accomplices?
Yes. So,
but where does it start from?
Much of our problems, there are 3 levels of the problems in NRM, or 4. One is logistical, where we don't do our internal processes well in time. Like, for example, we did the register until 3 or 4 days to voting. In that process, people of mischief took advantage. When we say mobilize people to come to NRM, some of them went to schools and registered children, school children. Somebody, if I am Ofwono from Muranda and I have influence, Muranda has a total population probably of 9,000. I fill the register 9,000 because I know they will vote for me. We have had that situation in our Toro there. We have the constituency of Dr. Tala, West Budama South. It had 4 candidates for that constituency. Each candidate came from a different sub-county. In the NRM register, those
had 6.
6.
There were 6 candidates.
6 candidates. In each, wherever a candidate came from, they made sure that there was a maximum registration into the NRM register. And when you go and check the results, each of them won overwhelmingly.
Each capitalized on their...
Yes. In his village, just one village, you got 2,000. They say, which village has 2,000 people? But that's what happened. And that happened in many parts of the country. Why? Because the process of registration, the credibility, the integrity of the register was compromised. The second one, our election officials. Of course, it's easier to throw stones at Tango Door. They say the buck stops with the boss. But there are registrars at village level, at sub-county level, supervisors who were compromised. In one case, I have been around the country. I went to a place, I think it was Teso, where somebody told me, I was an agent, I was a supervisor for a minister, and when I found in one polling station, the minister had scored 13. I said, how can you give the minister 13? He said, give me empty sheets. He filled for the minister, new results now. And he confessed to me that he paid each of the agents of the other candidates 30,000 shillings each, and said, now you bring your DRA forms, declaration forms, and put them in his car. Now put the agents, so that even if the candidate was to come to complain, he had already driven these people away to a far-off place. That type of mischief. Then the other one, of course, is response. Even if you complain, like the one I've given Tungamo and Vigiri, even if you report to Tango Doi, after a day, there's very little he can do. Then, of course, the other one is interference by public officials who are not supposed to otherwise be part. They are supposed to observe from a distance, probably security breaches and things like that. And then they intervene. You have had this case of Rwampara, where it is now the RDC who said, you are not going to declare results. The RDC, his job should have been to raise complaint that, by the way, there's something going on which is likely to breach the peace, but not direct intervention. So those are some of the things. What I have seen from the tribunal is that there are mainly cases of swapping results, fiddling with the results. People stand in the lines properly, they are counted properly, they enter properly, but somebody fiddles with the election officials, agents of other candidates, or actually the tally. You probably saw the current speaker of Toro Council. After all the voting took place, she went to the tally center at the district. And on her watch, she saw the person supposed to tally writing for her opponent completely different things from, and she jumped. She's an elderly lady. She jumped, and the speaker, she jumped onto the person who was tallying, grabbed the fellow by the neck, and they started the fight in there. So we have a number of things that we need to sort, and for me, I agree with the president that our tribunal is more or less like a court of law. So if there is that process going on,
but given the time, imagine the time that the tribunal has had. No,
we have the tribunal. We have the tribunal, but we also have reconciliation committees. Things that are just political in nature go to the reconciliation committees. And so you are asking whether these results from the NRM primaries are free and fair. For me, I would want to say yes, they are, and to a large extent, leave outlandish cases. To a large extent, they tend to reflect the will. Why? Overwhelming majority of our candidates who have been given flags since 2006 elections have been returned. But there have been also quite substantial number, because I think we have been having, on average, 30 to 50 people who participate in NRM primaries. They don't agree with the results, and when they go, they actually win. Meaning, in their case, probably the electoral process was interfered with in a major way, or probably along the way, the voters changed their mind. So to me, to a large extent, yes, there's violence which we should never entertain. There's open bribery which we should never, bribery of voters.
Alteration of results.
Alteration of results, which is fraud. But all those, and the good thing is that our elections are before the cameras, before the public. You saw cases, you saw cases where people were distributing money outside the polling station.
And nothing has been done to reprove it.
But still, their candidates lost, meaning that actually there is a quiet revolution by the voters, that yes, you can come with money, but people can still vote the person they want, or you can even mete out violence, and people still stand firm. You see the one in Namutumba. And so, for me, the fact that NRM conducts its elections in broad daylight is a good thing, so that no one can hide the mischief.
Thank you. Honorable Tinka Simire, while you seem to diss the role and capacity of the tribunal, the president and chairman of the party has come out to express his confidence in this tribunal in resolving the impasse and the mess that was in the primaries. How do we balance this contradiction?
Because when you go like to court and you prove a case of bribery, just that one alone, the election is overturned, which cannot be the case in the tribunal. In the tribunal, where they look at those forgeries in the tally sheets, and they advise that the returning officer now, who is Tango Doi, Dr. Tango Doi, to carry basing on those statistics. For where you have a well-hatched plan, like in my constituency, I learned that the returning officer already has a result declaration form, and before the voting, I reported this matter to the Tango Doi. Dr. Tango Doi acts on this person. But this person has set up a system on the ground, at the district level. Even when he's removed, the system has remained. He had already even had an induction that when, this is the induction he gave to his sub-county supervisors, and consequently they went in parish supervisors and village supervisors. This was the induction, that when you are counting the line of Dennis Namara, start with 50. When you are counting the line of Dennis Namara, there were 3 election officials. One who was either waiting at the desk, and 2 were going down to count.
So even if one, 10 people, there will be 60.
One is counting from front and another one from behind. Then they both of them have the same figure. They add it up and they count one person in 2 times. Then you find a line with children, just kids. They are counting them. They reach at some point, they are counting the hair, the bums, the children in the back. We got just confused. We got confused. That was not an election, it was a sham. It was a sham. It was a fraud. For me, I am known of accepting some level of violence, of rigging. So I can. But this was excessive.
You were accused in 2016.
This was excessive.
Of having meted out violence in the primaries. So is it possible that you got a bitter taste of your own medicine?
I have never organized any form of violence, but many times I prepare myself against it. This time around, I did not have time. One, I was abducted on 28th and taken hostage for 2 days. I am returned. My medical team demands that I must take tests to prove whether the porridge that I took when I was in abduction did not contain poison. They are carrying out tests. I'm missing a complete week. I'm running out of time. I ran to the constituency because then again I fall sick because I almost collapsed because of what I had gone through. I am rushed to Buhinga Hospital. The consultants advised the return to Kampala, and they are taking medical tests on me when the other people are going on with the campaigns. I find a system well hatched where the RDC, the DPC, all of them are working now with this system of NRM at the district level to make sure that what I have just described happens. Well, if there is they vote, for instance, the village, I am saying a village, but very many villages. If they vote and I get a particular, number, they must make sure that the balance of all the votes, those people who did not turn up, are added on this person. Well, on this person. Well, so
if you've weighed the option of going independent, when you look back, do you feel all this hassle for a party ticket was worth it?
In my own assessment as an individual, what I went through, first of all, why would you abduct me? Why would you organize military men to do an abduction against me? For what? For what? It's not worth it. The money that I spent in the party primaries is not worth it. We have to revise this. Originally, as the Honorable Opondo described, it was a smooth election. Even when we were using, where I agreed with the changes, was when we moved from an electoral college to a universal adult suffrage within the party. And the writing was perfect. Again, doing the what she described, of course, it worked against her. But for me, it was still okay. Because these voters, even when they were illiterate, they would still write my name properly. But this thing of lining up, where children come and line up, where the returning officer counts the bum, counts the head, counts the children on the back, counts even the children then again one counts from front and another one from behind. They add up the result for one person. If NRM is going to stand like this, certainly, I love NRM. I joined NRM when after leaving public service. That was on 25th of September, 2005. But if this can continue, I don't think that I will return to this type of an election. This is not an election I would bid to go in.
Thank you. Honorable Semuju, when you look across the aisle, it's not any better. For instance, in other parties, I'll give you an example of the National Interplatform, whose fashion of doing things leaves a lot of questions. It has a lot of mystery. Do you imagine it's now time to rethink the entire system of party primaries and the quest for the national flag? In a couple of minutes as we take a break.
I think the trouble is that the law has gaps. Both the Constitution and the Political Parties and Organizations Act require a political party to be democratic internally, national in character and then democratic. But there is nobody watching over political parties. Because if the Electoral Commission, and I guess it is their job, because in the past we have had problems with parties not filing returns, especially the NRM. And the Electoral Commission is not deregistering parties. Because if you've set standards for compliance and there are parties that are not meeting that requirement, begin a process to have them deregistered. Have sanctions that are known that if you don't do the following, because you cannot say you prove your democratic credential and national in character at the time of registration, where you run around to look for signatures, and then after that you can do things your own way. it is a requirement under the Political Parties and Organizations Act that when you are registering a political party, you must submit a copy of your constitution. Even when you are changing a line, you go to the Electoral Commission to change a line. But the Electoral Commission is not enforcing this. I'm not sure that every party must conduct primaries the NRM style, but at least there must be an agreed constitutional process that a party must follow, and someone must hold that party to that constitutional provision. But I think the way we are running parties, we run them the way we like, and everybody is watching.
Well, we'll take a very short break, and certainly when we return, we'll still be looking at the intricacies of getting a party flag. And why is it becoming such a huge